This is the fastest AMG to hit the streets ever. Look at this thing. This makes 831 horsepower and over 1,000 pound-feet of torque. And it is built by one guy with his hands. So let's see how fast it is. Give me the race start. Give me the race start. Here we go. Ready? 2.76. Okay. This is like a train, very different than my Tesla, even though this does have electrification, and I have exactly half a battery right here. And I have about just under a quarter tank, which means that I don't not weighed down by fuel. Go. There, better. Oh, that's better. Oh my God. 2.62. Okay.
All right, I want to try this launch too. That is wild.
It's just so aggressively smooth that you don't really feel how fast you're going, but this thing makes a boatload of power. Like on the highway, you pin it, it's like, you're like, oh my God, I am breaking every single speed limit on the planet in this thing. The AMG GT63 was the first Mercedes-Benz we ever filmed on our channel and has over 1 million views now, and that was 5 years ago. So recap 5 years later and it kind of looks exactly the same, except they've added 500 pounds, way more power, and electrification. So there's two styles you can get with the AMG GT63 SE Performance. One is the four-door sedan you can see here, and then there's a two-door coupe coming. Now it makes slightly less horsepower with the coupe as opposed to this. In the front you have over 600 horsepower made by the engine, which goes to all four wheels, and then you have a rear electric motor that assists the back wheels, and that makes over 200 horsepower. Now the coupe makes about 15 to 20 horsepower less, and that's more likely because of the weight it's trying to balance out when you buy the four-door versus the coupe. So yes, over 1 million people watch our last video on the GT63S, but only 5,500 people subscribed, which is crazy. We need more of these. And that is not good because we're not gonna get it. The math ain't mathin'. We have less than 1%, 5,500 people subscribed. And the only way to get past that is for you to subscribe. Can we beat that? For the sake of BMW, Porsches, and Mercedes-Benz, please. So on the front, not huge changes from when we filmed it 5 years ago. You do have the Affalterbach, nice logo on the front here, a big Mercedes-Benz three-pointed star right here that has heated elements through it, so in the wintertime, it'll melt off and your radar will work. You have a front camera there, and of course you have vertical louvres right there, nice and big. This is very AMG-ish because you have the badge right there. On the bottom, you have a carbon fiber lip, and in between, everywhere here, it does have piano black. All in all, I love the front end of this, and I'm glad that they didn't change it even 5 years later by changing it to some wild design on the front. Of course, you have the Mercedes-Benz digital light with the DRLs right there. These headlights are adaptive. They move left and right. And over here, you can see that you do have a functional vent that slides through and gives you an air curtain behind these wheels. Welcome to the side of one of the prettiest four-door coupes on the market today, and we'll start off with the wheels. These bad boys are 21-inch wheels. They are 275 wide in terms of rubber. In the back, they are 315s. Guys, 315s, that's crazy. Yes, you do have carbon ceramics that will stop this beast in its tracks. Now, when you get closer here, the wheels are not only just regular 275s, but check out the rims itself. They are black and they have the AMG badge right on it. And if you're wondering, will I scrape the front end because it doesn't look like a lot of room here? Well, don't worry. Hit a button and you go up by 30 millimeters. It lifts up the front axle. Now back from there, you have the V8 Biturbo with the E-Performance badge on the side. This little thing does absolutely nothing. It's more for just looks. And same with the carbon fiber on the bottom. That is all for looks, but I approve. You have piano black mirror caps, piano black all the way down, right to the very end. And I like this matte finish color. And this color is called Manufacture Spectral Blue Magno. When I saw it first, I was like, it looks like mango, but it's not. And I will say, it's very difficult to find a car that looks good in a bright color when the car is big and large like this one. Usually, cars that are big and large that have bright, shiny colors just look kind of weird. But I think having this matte finish on this car looks really good. So let me know in the comments below if you think big cars look good in bright colors, or that's just reserved for tiny ones. Now, what's embarrassing is that this has a V8 motor and it drinks fuel, yet it has green plates here in Canada, which means it's environmentally friendly. And if you're wondering where to plug it in, because it is a plug-in hybrid, the cap is right here. It is not on the side. You see, most hybrids are on this side and the gas is on that side, but not this guy. It's in the butt.
And just how green is this green-plated AMG? 16 liters per 100 kilometers. Doesn't sound overly environmentally friendly to me.
So if you're not familiar what an AMG GT63 body style is, well, it is a sports coupe like I talked about earlier, which means this thing pops up, and I will show you that. Hit this button here and the trunk opens up. Now we'll get into the trunk in a little bit because I gotta talk about some of the aesthetics on the back of this thing. How cool is this? This wing is fully adjustable. You hit a button on the inside of the infotainment and you can pop this up. You have the AMG badge right there. This is in like a dark chrome. And because this is electrified, you have red around this GT63S badge. Now, look at all this beautiful matte. Love it, Mercedes-Benz. There's a ton of carbon fiber matte there, and that is an AMG product. Look at this rear lower valence. I love the way the back end of this looks. It looks very, very AMG. Now, if you're wondering with these exhausts, do they come out individually? Are there 4 individual mandrel bent pieces that come out that attach to these tips? And the answer is no. There's actually one big one on each side for a total of 2. But it doesn't matter because from the back, this looks mean. Does it scream, 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 scream like that Porsche? No. It's actually a little bit subdued, but it still has that deep rumble because it's a V8 under the hood. Oh baby, the interior, all white steering wheel. Look at that. Do you guys like this? All white steering wheel to match the Napa leather seats with diamond stitching all the way through. And check out this AMG right there. And this halter back on the headrests, or the crested headrest. Now, this is very similar to the one that we reviewed 5 years ago, with the exception of this wheel and the infotainment right here. This is a lot more modern than that was. But this here is all pretty much exactly the same. Now this does have the Burmester sound system. It produces 1,160 watts worth of jam power in your ears, as well as heated seats. You have 3 increments on each one. Of course, it's a Mercedes-Benz, so you have all your adjustments on the actual door panel. All the way up and all the way down. This is adjustable in so many different ways. You do have massage seats as well. Now moving into the dash, you do have Alcantara on the A panel. You do have a ton of stitching and of course massive center speakers. It does have heads-up display and it gives you this gauge that's very similar to a BMW, I might say. From 0 all the way to 7,000 RPM, super aggressive right in front of me. It's small, it's kind of not really big in your face, it's just easy to see. Of course, you have this massive 12.3-inch screen for me, the driver, and enough ways to adjust it or customize it depending on the drive mode you're in. Now, speaking of drive modes, it all happens on this steering wheel. All the way left, I have slippery, then I have individual, then I have battery hold, because remember, this is a plug-in hybrid. Then I have electric. Then you have comfort, sport, sport plus, race, and then you have a hidden one called master. And the only reason you can activate that, or the only way you can activate that, is when you're on a track. It is for off-road use only. Now, a car this size and price point, you'd expect it to have a full panoramic sunroof, but it doesn't. It's simply just a small, regular, conventional sunroof. Now, the center console is also old body style, but I actually don't mind it because you have tactile buttons. Like, listen. They're real buttons, and I appreciate that as opposed to everything on the screen like the newer ones. Okay, stop, all the way down, shut that off, all the way down. Now there's carbon fiber right here, matte carbon fiber to match most of the car, including all here on the inside throughout the dash. Down from here, it's all where the performance happens. On the left-hand side, you have, again, more drive modes to adjust. I'm not sure why they have that there when it's right here. It should be on this side for the passenger to just wake up the driver. Now aesthetically, when you look at this, you have a bank of 4 on the left and a bank of 4 on the right to indicate this is an 8-cylinder. That's what my mind keeps telling me. Now on this side here, on the left side, you do have a button here that switches between manual and automatic. Below that, you have your suspension button and then stability program. On the right here is where you have your volume, your AMG dynamics button, how to open or adjust your rear spoiler by hitting this button here. And then you have this button here because this is an electrified vehicle. So when you hit this button here, you can increase or decrease the amount of fake sounds that you get in the vehicle. Now, if you don't want to use this touchscreen, you can use this touchpad or trackpad here to go up and down, left and right on the screen. You do have this little armrest here. I wish they put a little bit more padding. I complained about this on the last GT63 and it seems like they haven't changed that. Now push this button down, you do have access to a little wireless charger here. So let's jump in performance here for a minute. You hit the performance button and then you have energy flow that shows you the battery pack to the engine, drive, which shows you RPM, pound-foot of torque, vehicle, which is rebound for your suspension, engine that shows you engine torque and power, horsepower and torque, and then of course you have the clock here. Check how cool this is. While I do all this, I have my massage seats on, which feels awesome. Now speaking of massage, I have classic massage, wave, hot relaxing back, hot relaxing shoulders, and a whole bunch more that you can play with. Then you have seat, ambient lighting, and you can choose between 64 colors of ambient lighting in your Club AMG. Back seat. I love that. Wow, these seats really snug you in and like hold you in like a cocoon. But did you guys hear this door? Listen, there's no door frame here. This is all glass. And every vehicle that has no door frame just sounds really crappy when you close the door, except for this. That sounds amazing. Now it feels very luxurious because this is a 2+2. Now headroom, I'm 5'9" and I'm not touching, but if you're 6 foot or more, this would be a little difficult, only because you can't recline any more than the seat is, you know? Now, what about armrests? Feels pretty soft. I have a button here, I open it up and I have a pretty deep center console here with 1 USB and 2 USB-Cs. And then when I slide this little cap back, I have a button here for cooled drink holder and heated drink holder. And then when I close this back again, I have up here, I have my HVAC controls for me and my HVAC controls for him or her. And then what else? How do I feel back here? Pretty good. I like this white leather back here. In the front, the steering wheel is kind of an odd one, but back here, the white is really, really nice. And again, same sort of vibe. I have the AMG back here and the Affalterbach right in the center here, knowing that I'm in a fancy GT63 SE Performance. And then as far as sound, yes, again, this Burmester sound system is magical back here. And if you don't want to hear that, well, you can hear the exhaust note because you're closer to it than that guy. So let's see how much room we have in the trunk of this AMG GT63. But first, I want to show you have 2 buttons. One there to open and close the trunk, and then this guy to lock the doors and then walk away. Now you can adjust the height of this tailgate simply by pushing this down, stopping right there, holding that for 3 seconds, and then it will save it. Thank you, Mercedes-Benz. I will push it back up manually. This is a 2+2, so as you can see, the center is fixed. You have a left seat and a right seat. And then if you're wondering, what is this? That is the battery pack. So let's see how much room we have with the battery pack out of the way. So we have 44 inches in terms of width. In terms of depth here, we have about 43, so that's pretty square. But the height is where you really lose. So a height where the battery is not, you have about 20 inches, and then where the battery is, you have like 12. So you have to think about that on how much suitcase, that you're putting in your trunk. Now, if you want to put the seats down, you have a button you can press, and then that seat goes down, and the same thing on that side. Now on this side, you do have a little Burmester sub, or as I like to call it, Burmeister, but Ian gets mad because that's not how it's said. Let me put my head in here to show you the seats are down. So with these Mercedes-Benz 4 liters, they are aggressive. Like, that sound, that is a very AMG pure sound. I don't know if you guys remember, but the older generation, like C63, was like loud and pop, 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 pop. And obviously it still does that, but this GT is definitely more muted, more turned down. It's like, listen, it's like more deep and more aggressive, and it does have that visceral sound that you get out of it. But outside the car, it's not very loud. Wow, this thing handles really well. Put the brakes, throw it on this corner here. Woo, woo, that's a big car. Woo, oh my God, she's a heavy one. Wow, it just bellowed there for a second. Okay, amazing. It takes skill to drive these big, big cars that are just bellowing. Oh, oh. Love it. Oh my God. These tires are like holding on for dear life. Now, I will say they are all seasons, I think. I'll just double check, but I'm pretty sure they were Pilot Sport 4S's. I think all season tires. I'm pretty sure they were. They feel like they're slipping a little bit. Well, we've got over 1,000 pounds of torque here, so I don't see how any tire could actually hold with that kind of power. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think bellowing is the perfect word for this car when you whip it around corners. Oh my God, there's so much weight that you have to control. Listen, I mean, anything under 3 seconds, this is supercar territory. 2 points, let me go into comfort. Supercar territory is like in the twos. This is extremely quick. Matter of fact, when I was launching right there, I hold my breath. I can't breathe when that's happening. There's too much pressure on my chest to breathe normally and also accelerate at that type of pushback. It's just insane. Now, when you look at the car, when you walk up to the vehicle and you look at this thing, you're like, this thing is a sleeper. It is a sleeper. It is a complete sleeper because you're not sure exactly what it is. The only real differentiation is that emblem back there in red. The GT63S is in red and not, the usual black. Now, okay, let's go this way. Oh my God, this thing is such a beast. It is like, it shifts super fast. And I will say right off the bat that this is better, in my opinion, than the S-Class. We just had the S-Class 2 weeks ago, and makes a little bit less horsepower than this. They bump up the horsepower in this, and this is aggressive, but it's also really smooth. It feels very smooth, which is strange because the S-Class is supposed to be smoother, right? It's an S-Class, and this is a GT Grand Tour, but I will say that this is smoother than the S-Class. The S-Class felt like it was like a big performance car trying to like rip the roads apart with that kind of power, but it's still an S-Class. And I don't know, I think like the S-Class is having a bit of like an identity crisis, whereas this feels more natural to me, the GT63 versus the S63. And if I was picking one or the other, I would definitely pick this car all day long over the S63. But I get it. I mean, some people want that S-Class look. They want that long length to it. And no, I would pick this. There is a downside to picking this though, and that is this interior. This is the old style interior. This is not the new style interior. And when you're thinking, hey, I'm gonna spend this kind of money, this thing is $255,000 Canadian. And that is a lot of money for an older interior. Now it does everything it's supposed to do. It has all the functionality of it all. But this center console here, it just feels a bit plasticky. It just feels cheap. It feels dated. It doesn't feel like new and fresh. But that's probably why they bumped the horsepower up, saying, hey, we can promote this as like a super sedan, basically. And that's really what it is. I mean, I do like this front end. This style of car I like on the exterior. This dash, the steering wheel, these seats are amazing. When you go around corners, it pushes you in on one side. Go around the other corner, it pushes you in on the other side. But the reality of this center console is gonna feel dated, especially when you buy it and you want to sell it after 3 years, and now everything has the new interior. You're like, what is that interior compared to this interior? That's the problem. So I want to see what this does in all electric mode. So I have the mode in EL right now, and we're going to see what it does to 60. Now there's a little step down or a little button at the end of the accelerator. So when I push the pedal all the way down, there's a clicky there. So I'm going to put my foot all the way down, but not hit the clicky. So let's do it and see what we can get to 60. From the ground. No, it overrides. It won't let me do it. So, okay, let's try this again. Let me see how I can force it. It won't let me. Okay, let's try it again. Here we go. Better. Okay, we got it. There we go. I got it. Man, it's still quick. Okay, after 70, it's starting to slow kilometers an hour here. Now it's really slowing down. Okay, there we go. 9.67. But I will say the slowness of it really comes after about 40 miles an hour or about 70 kilometers an hour. Up to 70, it's actually really quick. Like, look, battery off, battery on. It's good. I feel like they just throw everything at these vehicles now in terms of technology, in terms of like premium quality, in terms of looks. There's so much money spent on these vehicles, and then they're like, hey, we gotta charge you so much money for these vehicles, and then someone's gonna be like, okay, I will buy one or I will lease one, and then you get it back like 4 years from now thinking like, man, wow, this thing's like half price. This thing was 50,000 Canadian, and now you can get one for like 120,000 4 years later. And obviously the person that owned it in the first 4 years has the money, wanted to be different, and wanted to have some really premium. But then the next guy that buys it 4 years later is thinking, oh my God, do I have enough money for maintenance in this thing? And then when they drive it, they're like, I have to buy it. There's so much car here. It is insane. That's how you got to think, right? The next guy that buys this, or girl, at a $120,000 price point in 4 years, which is what it will be, is like huge value, huge value. So this video is for that guy or girl. So that's that on this Mercedes-Benz GT63 SE Performance. Let us know in the comments below if you think this is a better buy than the S-Class and you agree with me. Or you think the S-Class is a better buy because they're pretty much very, very similar money, plus or minus 10%, which really doesn't count at this price point. So thank you for watching. As always, we appreciate all the support from myself, Mike, and Ian that is behind the camera. We'll catch you on the next one.